Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Chana Polingalai, and I'm the new director of the Institute for Holocaust, Genocide, and Memory Studies at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. Welcome to our first webinar of this year, a journalist's perspective on the devastation in Gaza, a conversation with Jeg Khoury. It's an honor to begin this position at the Institute and at UMass, and to build on the path-breaking work of the Institute's two previous directors, Professor James Young and Professor Alon Confino, Zichrono Livracha, as well as the interim directors, Professor John Olson and Professor David Mednikoff, who did incredible work after Professor Confino's illness and passing. I also wish to thank the two graduate students who helped pull this event together today. It's only the second week of classes, so it's quite a feat that they helped me pull this together. Eric Ross and Natalia Kostenko. As you can tell from this event today, we at the Institute are beginning the year by addressing urgent, challenging topics, and we will continue to have events of significance throughout the year. I invite you to join us on Tuesday, September 30th, for a conversation with Yonatan Dekel-Chen about his experience as the father of an October 7th hostage. And Natalia will put a link to register for that webinar into the chat so that all of you can join us if you can. On February 15th and 17th, we will be having two events, one co-sponsored with the National Yiddish Book Center with Professor Sven-Eric Rose of UC Davis about his book on literature written in the ghettos, in the Nazi ghettos in the Holocaust. And on March 26th, an in-person book talk with Anna Haikova of University of Warwick about her new book entitled People Without History Are Dust, Queer Desire in the Holocaust. Please join us for this as well. Mark your calendars and stay tuned for more events as they are added. I want to use the title of Haikova's book, People Without History Are Dust, as a segue back into today's event and our discussion here with Jackie Khoury. If people without history are dust, as Haikova reminds us in the case of the Holocaust legacy, then I believe it's also true to say that people without journalism are at risk of becoming dust. It is the work of journalists like Khoury to counteract the process of erasure, to aid people under attack, in this case in Gaza, to tell their stories to the wider public, to place their experiences in the context of broader regional and global dynamics and analyses, and to require that people who are far from these events look at them in real time and not wait until they become historical memory. It is no wonder that in many places in the world today, Israel and the US among them, journalists are treated as a threat to rising autocracy. It's a real honor to introduce Jackie Khoury. Khoury has been working as a journalist of Palestinian society while living in Israel for decades, and he is most prominently featured on Radio Ashams in Arabic and in Haaretz newspaper in Hebrew. His work includes quotes and information from politicians, military leaders, and figures of influence from all over the Middle East, as well as on-the-ground field reporting from everyday people. He'll soon tell us about the development of his own career as a journalist and how he got started. I can certainly say that this has been an extremely busy week for him, reporting on the ground invasion in Gaza City around the clock, which makes us appreciate your presence with us even more, Jackie. I want to share just one quote with you from his reporting from this week, from his ample reporting this week, that I feel exemplifies what makes his journalism so powerful. Along with important numbers and statistics and political proclamations, Khoury included a quote from a mother of five from Gaza City 2 days ago. And this is something that was translated from Arabic into Hebrew, and I translating into English. So I hope my translation's okay. Well, she told Khoury, "We left without anything more than the clothes on our backs. We didn't manage to take a thing. The children are crying from hunger and fear and sleeping outdoors. The sky is our only roof." With us today is also Saeed Sharif. from the University of Leeds, who is working through the UMass Translation Center, who will translate Jackie's answers from Arabic into English. There'll be some time for audience questions at the end. Please post those questions into the chat, into the Q&A, not into the chat. And without further ado, let's begin. I'll call you, we can speak in first names, right? So Jackie, please tell us, how did you begin your work as a journalist, and where are you from? A little bit about yourself.
Okay. Thank you. مساء الخير جميعا، وشكرا للدعوة وشكرا للمشاركين جميعا. اسمي جاك خوري. أنا من قرية في اسمها فصوطة، تبعد 500 متر عن الحدود الشمالية في منطقة الجليل الأعلى في إسرائيل. أعيش في قرية اسمها فصوطة كما ذكرت. هي قرية صغيرة 3000 نسمة. ما يميزها طبعا جغرافيتها، ولكن أحد ميزات هذه القرية بأنها قرية فقط لأبناء الطائفة المسيحية. تقريبا 3000 شخص نعيش في هذه القرية منذ تقريبا يعني البلد منذ 300 عام. You want to translate and I will.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. And thank you very much for the invitation. And I would like to thank you and also the attendees for giving me this opportunity. My name is Jack Khoury from the village of Fassouta. That is 500 meters away from the northern borders in the area of Upper Galilee. It is a small village which is resided by only 3,000 residents. And what is characterized about this village, it is only a place where Christian people live. There are 3,000 Christian people living in this area.
بدأت عملي الصحفي في العام 98 كمراسل في بعض الصحف المحلية باللغة العربية. والحدث الأبرز الذي بالنسبة لي كان الأهم في بداية عملي الصحفي هي المواجهات التي كانت في أكتوبر 2000 بين المواطنين العرب في إسرائيل وبين شرطة إسرائيل. هذه الأحداث التي انتهت بإطلاق الشرطة النار على المتظاهرين العرب وقتل 13 شاب عربي، كان بالنسبة لي هذا الحدث الأبرز الذي بدأت في تغطيته.
I started my work in journalism and reporting in the Arab newspapers. And what made me start this profession is the clashes of the year 2000, and these clashes were made by the Arabs in the 1948 area, and also the Israeli police. These clashes ended with the shooting or killing 13 Arab young people.
بداية عملي الصحفي بعد أكتوبر 2000 تطورت في بعض الصحف العربية المحلية، ولكن كان الشعور لدي أنه حتى أستطيع أن أتقدم في المجال كان لابد من أن أدخل في الإعلام العبري باللغة العبرية. فبدأت أكتب في بعض الصحف المحلية local newspapers محلية، تحديدا في منطقة الجليل باللغة العبرية. فكنت يعني أعمل في مسارين، باللغة العربية في صحف عربية وباللغة العبرية في صحف عبرية، ولكن القاسم المشترك أنها محلية مناطقية local.
Okay. The start of my profession, my journalism profession, after the year 2000 developed, I started to work in Arab local newspapers. And um, I started actually to work in journalism in these newspapers in the Upper Galilee, in the Galilee area. I worked in two paths. The first was the journalism with Arab newspapers and also with the Hebrew in newspapers. But what is common about those two is that they were local in the same area.
آه، في العام 2006 في حرب لبنان الثانية، كنت قد بدأت كمراسل ريبورتر في إذاعة الشمس. هي إذاعة محلية تبث من الناصرة للعرب باللغة العربية بالأساس، من الناصرة لغالبية المجتمع العربي في إسرائيل. وبدأت كفريلانس في صحيفة هارتس أغطي بعض الأخبار المحلية. وحتى لا أطيل، في العام 2008 تقدمت طبعا في العمل وتطورت. في العام 2008-2009 أصبحت مدير الأخبار في إذاعة الشمس. وفي هآرتس أعطوني موقع محرر للشؤون العربية، وأغطي شؤون العرب داخل إسرائيل وأيضا القضايا الفلسطينية بشكل عام، خاصة الملف السياسي الفلسطيني، مفاوضات واتصالات وكل ما يرتبط بالملف الفلسطيني، خصوصا بالبعد السياسي.
Okay. Actually, in the year 2000, after the second Lebanon war, I started my work as a reporter in Al Shams radio, and this radio broadcasted from the Nazareth, whose main residents are Arabs. And from 2008 to 2009, I became the chief editor for the Arabic affairs, covering the news of Arabs in Israel and also the political Palestinian file that highlighted the issues of negotiations and also other issues relating to the resistance and other political aspects.
أوكي. حتى ألخص، منذ العام 2009 حتى الآن أنا في موقعين: محرر الشؤون العربية في هآرتس، وأكتب عن الفلسطينيين وكل ما يرتبط بالفلسطينيين والعرب، ومدير الأخبار في إذاعة الشمس حتى الآن.
To summarize, now I work in two positions. The first, the editor of the Arab affairs in Haaretz. I cover the news about Palestine, the political affairs, the political Palestinian affairs, and also the manager of the media room in Ashams Radio.
Good. Thank you so much. So we know how you got here, and I think it's really interesting that you began with local news, and that I think maybe shows why you also have such a knack or a talent for talking to regular people. I want you to tell us about what your work entails now. Like this week, for example, who are your sources? How do you get your information? It's incredibly difficult to communicate with people in Gaza. How do you do it? How do you know these people? Have you lost anyone? Do you lose contact with people regularly? Please tell us about how you do your reporting and your research.
أوكي. العمل في أمام الفلسطينيين في غزة تحديدا لم يكن سهل بالمرة، ولكن بهمني أقول إنه تغطية أحداث غزة لم تبدأ في أكتوبر 23. أنا أتابع غزة منذ تقريبا العام 2008. أيضا الحملات العسكرية التي كانت 2008 وخصوصا 2014، الحصار على غزة الذي بدأ بعد العام 2007. أزمة غزة كانت موجودة بشكل أقل بكثير مما هو الآن، ولكن كانت موجودة، وبالتالي علاقتي مع غزة بدأت قبل سنوات طويلة.
Okay. My present work, actually, I have not started work on Gaza recently. I have been working on it for a long time ago, and I have to say that my work on Gaza has never been easy. And uh, what I feel it's very compelling to say is that my coverage to the news in Gaza has not started in 7 October, but I started covering Gaza from the years 2008 to or 2007. But the crisis in Gaza was not as harsh as now. But I have been working in Gaza for a long time.
آم، تغطية غزة بالحرب هي مهمة صعبة جدا. أولا لصحفي وخارج غزة، يعني أنت تتابع الأحداث من خارج غزة. حتى الآن الجيش الإسرائيلي لا يسمح بالدخول إلا من خلال مرافقة الجيش، بمعنى لا نملك حرية الدخول لأنها منطقة حرب ومنطقة خطيرة. وأيضا الجيش يرفض دخول الصحفيين بشكل حر، كل ما ليس فقط الصحفيين الإسرائيليين بل حتى الصحفيين الأجانب بشكل أو بآخر، وهذا يصعب المهمة. ولكن هنالك إمكانيات كثيرة للتواصل. أولا لدينا أصدقاء في غزة، لدينا صحفيين وصحفيات نتواصل معهم بشكل يومي. منهم من هم ليسوا محسوبين على حماس بأي حال من الأحوال، ومنهم من هم مقربين، لأنه كصحفي أنت تريد أن تعرف كل شيء، أيضا ما يدور في فلك حماس وأدوارها. ولكن المهمة أصبحت صعبة بشكل كبير في الأشهر الأخيرة، لأنه إمكانيات الاتصال أيضا ليست سهلة. ولكن هنا أقول جملة مهمة، أن الوصول إلى المعلومات في غزة خصوصا المعلومات المرئية ليست مهمة صعبة، لأنه لكل شخص في غزة هاتف، والكل ينقل لنا الصور في بث مباشر، بالإضافة إلى القنوات والفضائيات والمواقع وشبكات التواصل التي تنشر المعلومات بشكل يومي وعلى مدار الساعة. فكم المعلومات متوفر، ولكن المشكلة في بعض الأحيان التأكد من الحقائق.
Okay, the covering the news in Gaza is hard. As a journalist residing outside Gaza, and the Israeli side do not grant any access and does not give us any freedom to get access to Gaza because it is a war zone. Journalists, I'm not talking about journalists from Israel or Palestinian journalists. I'm talking about journalists in general are not allowed to get access. But we have stories, we have friends that we are we still in constant contact with. Those are not affiliated with Hamas, but some of those people who we contact are somehow close to them, to the Hamas, because we want to know about what is happening in Gaza in details. I have to say that getting videos, audio, visual news from Gaza is not hard because everyone is in Gaza has a smartphone and everyone can record videos. But what is more important is that we have to check the credibility of the news, and especially those news that is disseminated 24 hours, 7 days. So just we have to check if they are true or not.
Yeah. مهم أن نقول أنه في غزة في هنالك المصادر الرسمية، وزارة الصحة، المكتب الإعلامي الحكومي أو هو وزارة الإعلام، يعني ما زالت بعض المؤسسات تعمل توفر معلومات، وأنا أعلم أنه هذه المعلومات في بعض الأحيان غير دقيقة 100%، خاصة النقاش الذي حصل عن عدد القتلى أو عدد الضحايا. ولكن لدينا اتصال، أنا شخصيا حتى أعطيكم صورة، أتحدث يوميا إلى أطباء، أتحدث يوميا إلى طواقم إسعاف، أتحدث يوميا إلى صحفيين وصحفيات اللي هم من أبناء غزة، بمعنى هم يتحدثون كعائلات. يعني صحفية من غزة هي أيضا أم لثلاثة أطفال، فهي صحفية ولكن هي أم. الهم الأساسي لها أن تعيش، أن تأتي بطعام وشراب لأطفالها. فهي أم وهي شاهدة عيان، وهي مصدر مهم. الآن بالنسبة للمستوى العسكري، نعم لا نستطيع أن نتواصل معهم لأنه هذا سر جدا، ولكن نحن نتواصل مع قيادات أو من هم من القيادات السياسية بشكل مباشر وغير مباشر عن ما يحدث في موضوع المفاوضات، ولكن هؤلاء خارج غزة، تحديدا في الدوحة. همي الأساسي بالنسبة لغزة، أهمي الأساسي، وهذا جواب لحنا بشكل مباشر، هو أن أنقل معاناة الناس، ما يعيشه المواطن في غزة يوميا: قتل، تدمير، نزوح، كل البعد الإنساني. أركز كثيرا على البعد الإنساني.
Okay. Actually, it's very important to say that we get news from official sources like the Palestinian Ministry of Justice, and also the Department of the Governmental Media. But I have to say that some of the information that we get are not true, or completely true, particularly the information related to causalities, the injured, the killed people. Uh, Actually, I'm in contact every day with the people in Gaza, with journalists in Gaza, also with paramedics, with journalists who are resident in Gaza. And also I talked to, for example, a female journalist, a female reporter who is also a mom and who also struggles for a living, or struggle to survive, and who is also an eyewitness of what is going on in Gaza. Actually, we don't have any contact with the military level in Gaza, but we directly and indirectly uh, uh, are in contact with the political level, particularly in Doha, Qatar. Um, I have to say that my main concern is to report the daily suffering of people, the killing of people, the displacement, the migration. I have to report the humanitarian crisis in Gaza.
Thank you very much. So I was wondering if Jackie, if you could share one particular story, maybe from this week or recently, something that a story that you gathered. How did you get the story, but also a story that you felt was important to share, or that you'd like us to hear now of one family or one person?
آم، يعني أنا لدي بعض الأصدقاء، أعتمد عليهم كمصادر، ولكن المثير عندما يصبح المصدر هو أيضا الخبر. لدي صديق اسمه مصطفى إبراهيم، هو باحث في شؤون الفلسطينية، يعيش في غزة، وأعتقد أنه هذا الأسبوع هو نزح للمرة الثالثة عشر، 13 مرة نزح من غزة وعاد وخرج. ودائما أستعين به لنقل أصوات ومعلومات، ولكن هذا الأسبوع أصبح هو القصة عندما هو حدثني كيف لم يجد موقع ينتقل إليه. صديق آخر اتصل بي يسأل عن إمكانية الخروج من غزة، ولما سألته يعني ليش الخروج ولأين تريد أن تذهب؟ فكان يعني مؤلم جدا، يقول لي إنه يعني لم يبقى متر واحد يستطيع أن ينتقل إليه. وخبرني إنه حتى في غزة اليوم من أجل أن تبني خيمة أنت بحاجة إلى 4 أو 5 أمتار. فبات تأجير المساحات الخالية ب20 أو 30 شيكل. احنا بنحكي على تقريبا 10 أو 20 دولار للمتر الواحد في غزة. متر رمل، ليس بناء شقة سكنية، يعني هو رمل. وظروف صعبة جدا عند يعني في اللغة، في الكلمات، في المفردات. انت بتسمع أشخاص بحالة يعني يأس، وينتظرون الموت في كل ساعة.
Thank you very much. Um, I have actually a lot of stories. I have also friends uh, who I count on to get the news. But when the source of news becomes the news themselves, um, this is a huge issue. One of those people is called Mustafa Ibrahim. He's a researcher in the Palestinian affairs. He has been displaced 13 times in Gaza. Actually, I used to get news from him, but now he has become the news himself. He has not found any place to live. And another story that I have is about a friend who asks me how he can get out from Gaza. I asked him where he wanted to go, uh, but what is really painful is that there has no has not remained any other meter uh, for for you to for a person in Gaza to put a tent, and to put one you have to get 5 meters, and people in Gaza pay $10 to $20 for every meter of sand to put their tents. The situations of people, the circumstances um, are very harsh, and everywhere they say reflects the misery and the feeling of dying every day.
Thank you. Jackie, you report both in Hebrew and in Arabic. Do you find yourself needing to report differently in these two different languages to these two different audiences? Are there adjustments you make in terms of knowledge or what you think will interest or people will understand? Or is it the same news that you report both in Arabic and in Hebrew?
بالغالب وأقول هذا أولا بالنسبة للرأي العام في إسرائيل. عندما تكتب بالعبرية بهدفي الأساسي أولا أن آتي بالمعلومات على أكبر قدر من الحقيقة والحقائق والمعلومات الصحيحة. ثانيا أن أعرف المجتمع الإسرائيلي قدر المستطاع عن ما يحدث في غزة، لأنه كان هنالك محاولة تعتيم، وأعتقد قبل فترة قصيرة تعتيم كامل على ما يحدث في غزة. يعني أن لا يعرف المواطن الإسرائيلي ما يحدث في غزة بشكل يومي. كان نوع من أسميها يعني ضباب أسود، ولا يريدون أن يسمعوا ولا يريدون أن يشاهدوا ولا أن يعرفوا شيء عن ما يحدث في غزة. فهمي باللغة العبرية من خلال موقعي في هآرتس أن أشرح حقيقة الأمر بوجهة نظر صحفية مهنية. في بعض الأحيان لسنا بحاجة للدخول في تفاصيل التفاصيل، ولكن مؤخرا نعمل أيضا هذا الأمر، لأنه كان في شعور أن المجتمع الإسرائيلي لا يريد أن يسمع. وأكثر ما أزعجني حتى الآن هو موضوع الشعور أنه في نوع من يعني أنه لا يوجد إنسانية في غزة، بمفهوم أنه لا يوجد أبرياء في غزة وكل شيء متاح ومباح. هذا كان جدا مزعج بالنسبة لي. ولكن بالنسبة للعرب لا، يعني الموضوع كان يختلف، لأن هنالك تعاطف، هنالك فهم لما يحدث في غزة، ولكن أنت بحاجة إلى التفاصيل. في الإطار العام هي الأخبار تقريبا نفسها، ولكن الخلاف في بعض الأحيان في المصطلحات وفي التفاصيل الصغيرة.
Okay. Thank you very much. Um, Actually, generally, as for the public opinion in Israel, um, my deep concern is that I report what is happening in Gaza um, in a professional and in a credible way, and also to get everybody in Israel familiarized about what is happening in Gaza, especially the attempts of covering what is happening in Gaza from the Israeli side. It's like they place black fogs on the news. So, my concern is to report what is happening in Gaza to the Israeli side professionally, impartially, and also truly. We used not to give so much detail, but recently we have started to do that, and we have to say that some Israelis don't want to listen to what is happening. And what makes me very sad, very upset, is that there are some opinions in Israel that believe that there are no innocent people in Gaza. As for the Arabic side, the Arabic audience is different. They are more sympathizing. They understand what is happening in Gaza, but we sometimes find ourselves using different types of jargons and also terminology for both audiences.
Okay, thank you. So I was going to ask you, Jackie, what's the most important thing to pay attention to right now, maybe that people living in the US don't know about? So you can tell us that, but I also know you told me when we started that we interrupted your work as a journalist with this webinar. You were in the middle of reporting at least two stories, right? And so maybe you could tell us what you're going to report tonight and tomorrow morning. You can give us a picture of what you're in the middle of right now, if you're allowed to give things away in advance.
أوكي. لا يعني فيما لا أنا أركز الآن، أنا بصدد إعداد تقرير موسع عن عامين على الحرب. هذا ما عمل عليه في الأيام الأخيرة، لينشر عشية الذكرى الثانية. على فكرة لم أتوقع، لم أكن يعني مقتنع أنه ما يحدث في غزة سيستمر لعامين. ولكن أعمل الآن على محاولة التواصل مع أشخاص لنفهم واقع الحال الآن بعد عامين على الحرب، خصوصا الموقف من حركة حماس داخل غزة، يعني كيف ينظرون إلى حركة حماس داخل غزة. It translate and after that I will tell you another thing.
Thank you very much. Now, what I'm really busy with, and what I really want people to know, is that now I'm preparing a report, and a detailed report that highlights the situation after 2 years after the 7th October. And I have started with this report recently, and I would like to post or to make this public, and in the night of the in the second memory, or in the second year Actually, I did not expect that this war would last for 2 years, but I'm now in contact with people, uh, those who are um, in Gaza. I am in contact with them to know about their attitude of about Hamas and towards what is happening in Gaza.
أم، مهم بالنسبة لي أن تعرفوا كأيضا في الولايات المتحدة أم، أنه منذ الأسبوع الأول للحرب، وأنا شخصيا كتبت والمقالات موجودة، أنه رغم كل ما يحدث في نهاية المطاف سنصل إلى سؤال: من يحكم غزة في اليوم التالي؟ وعندما سألت هذا السؤال في بداية الحرب للإسرائيليين، قالوا لي: هذا الآن ليس الوقت المناسب لنسأل هذا السؤال، نحن الآن في حالة غضب، في حالة رغبة في معاقبة من ارتكب الجريمة في 7 أكتوبر. بعد ذلك لكل حادث حديث. فاعتقدت أنه بعد أشهر ستكون إجابة، ولكن برأيي والمؤلم أنه حتى اليوم على الأقل رسميا لا توجد إجابة واضحة بالنسبة لليوم التالي، وهذا جزء أساسي من المشكلة. لماذا لا تنتهي الحرب؟ لأنه هنالك 3 أسئلة لا نملك الإجابة عليها حتى الآن بعد عامين. متى ستنتهي الحرب؟ كيف ستنتهي الحرب؟ بمعنى هل سيكون انسحاب إسرائيلي أم لا؟ والسؤال الثالث: كيف سيكون وضع حماس في نهاية الحرب؟ هذه الأسئلة لا إجابات عليها، وأنا أحاول قدر المستطاع أن أحصل على إجابات على هذه الأسئلة.
Actually, what is very important to me, um, um, uh, you started actually talking about America, but then you changed the topic. What is important to me, uh, from the first week of the war, um, I posted, I wrote a report and reports, sorry, and they are still available on the newspaper. And there was a question I wrote in the report, which is who is going to rule Gaza in the second day after the war stops. I have asked this question in the to the Israel. I have asked this question to the Israeli side, but the answer was it's not the good time to ask such a question because we are still in a time that we have so much grudge and anger about those who committed the crime in the 7 October. And after this, after the situation gets better, we can ask such question. What is very painful officially is that there is still no answer to this question, and also for other 3 questions. The first, when this war is going to stop, how this war is going to stop, is Israel going to leave the area? And the third question, how the presence of Hamas is Hamas going to be present in Gaza? This is the third question. Thank you.
Thank you. So to the audience members, thank you to those who have posted questions in the Q&A. I invite you to do that. This will be my final, I think my final question to Jackie. And so we'll leave time for Q&A because it takes a little extra time with each question because of the translation. So please feel free to submit your questions to Q&A now. So Jackie, you mentioned now that you're reporting and researching how the attitude of Gazans has changed towards Hamas. Maybe has it? Maybe you could tell us a little bit about that, public opinion in Gaza, where you're getting the information from, any changes or trends that you see?
آم، يعني واضح أن هنالك تغيير كبير في الرأي العام الفلسطيني في قطاع غزة. يعني حتى من نتحدث إليهم ممن كانوا يؤيدون حماس على المستوى الشعبي يسألون يعني هل فعلا القرار بالهجوم في 7 أكتوبر كان قرار صحيح بالبعد الاستراتيجي ويحقق الأهداف الفلسطينية؟ أن هنالك أخطاء في الحسابات، لم يدركوا خطورة ما قاموا به، وهذا سؤال يطرح موجود. ولكن السؤال الآخر الذي لا يملكون عليه إجابة، طيب ماذا بعد؟ وهذا أكثر شيء مقلق. يعني في غزة الآن طبعا القضية الأبرز متى ستنتهي الحرب، لأنه تعبنا وانتهى، يعني الأمور أصبحت في مرحلة خطيرة جدا جدا. فبالتالي هذا هو الموضوع الأساسي، هل ستنتهي الحرب؟ يعني أنا في الأسبوع قبل مهاجمة مقر حماس في الدوحة تقريبا كل ساعة اتصالات من أصدقاء ومعارف وأشخاص نتحدث إليهم. كان في أمل عند من بقي في غزة أنه الحرب ستنتهي، وعلقوا أمال كبيرة على الرئيس ترامب وعلى فريقه أنه فعلا يريد إنهاء الحرب، ولكن للأسف هذا خذلهم. فسؤال متى ستنتهي الحرب وكيف هو أكبر سؤال موجود، وإذا انتهت الحرب ماذا يعني ذلك بالنسبة للغزيين؟ ولكن في الفترة الأخيرة في شعور خوف طبعا كبير، ولكن الشعور العام الذي يبدأ الآن يأخذ دور أنه هذه الحرب لن تنتهي قريبا. طالما هذا أنقل لكم ما يفكرون، طالما نتنياهو في الحكم هذا لن ينهي الحرب إلا إذا الرئيس الأمريكي تحديدا اتخذ قرار، ولكن حتى الآن هو لم يتخذ القرار بضرورة وقف الحرب. الشعور أنه ترامب والإدارة الأمريكية يدعمون نتنياهو بشكل كامل، وبالتالي لا يوجد أفق. حتى القمة العربية، زعماء الدول العربية الذين اجتمعوا في الدوحة لم ينجحوا في فرض شيء، وهذا ما كتبته أيضا هذا الأسبوع على على ترامب وعلى نتنياهو. وبدليل أنه مع انتهاء القمة العربية مباشرة بدأت العملية في غزة المدينة، وهذا جدا أثار حالة خوف. المشكلة أنه في غزة الآن هنالك أجيال تنمو، وهذه الأجيال تنمو على دمار، والدمار واليأس والإحباط والجوع والمرض، وهذا لن يولد جيل مسالم، هذا يولد جيل للأسف يريد الانتقام.
Actually, there has been a significant change of the public opinion, of the Gazan public opinion, uh, from supporting Hamas to started not to support Hamas. So they started actually to ask questions. The first one was the attack of the 7 October wise strategically was it right for the sake of the people of Palestine and Gaza? And the second question, what's next? And this is the most worrying question. Actually, many people started to say that we fed up with the whole situation, and the situations in Gaza are becoming more and more critical and dangerous. And people actually had some hope that the war is going to end. But after Israel attacked the headquarters of Hamas in Gaza, in Doha, people lost hope, and people felt disappointed. So I'm going to say again, the questions are when and how is this war going to end, and what does this mean to the Gazans if the war uh, ends? Now the public feeling is that most people say that the war is not going to end as long as Netanyahu is in office, and people feel that the war is going to end if provided that Trump issues a decision or decides. Um, Actually, as for the Arab League that convened, this actually also couldn't help. Now, people have no hope about if the war is going to end or not.
Okay, thank you. So we'll now turn to some audience questions. And Jackie, if you want to try to answer in English, maybe that will help us just get to, get to the questions. But of course, if you want, you can.
I will say something in English because
Yeah.
I just to when I talk to my colleagues in Gaza, and some of them are doctors, and also they try to say something in English every day. One of the important issues that they ask me, uh, who can talk to the President Trump, and tell him enough is enough. They just feeling that nobody can stop it. Nobody, no the Arab League, no the Arab, all the world about what happened there, and also they just ask the American people, just where are you? What are you doing to stop this war? Because they see what happened in the news channels in the United States, in Europe, in every place in the world, but they can't feel the effect for this feeling to translate to political issue and push the governments to make something. Maybe in Europe it's just starting something, but not in the USA.
Mm-hmm. Good. So I promised that I have follow-up questions, but I promised to ask some audience questions. So
Okay.
if you can actually read them with me if you want to open. But question: why do you think it is so difficult for many Jewish Israelis to understand the level and impact of violence the government is carrying out in Gaza and how it is alienating so much of the world? What would help give the very important reporting you do broader exposure in Jewish Israeli society? So how would you get your message if you had all the power or money as a journal, as much as a journalist could have? How would you make your reporting reach more people in Jewish Israeli society?
Jewish Israeli society, it's very difficult because I just write in Haaretz newspaper, and they translate my articles to English. I think that the effect of my articles in English is more power than the Hebrew, because they just like they think that Haaretz is not a mainstream media, a journalist, as is just talking for the left wing in Israel, and for small people, not for the big mainstream issues. And if you think, I think the problem started in the Israeli media, in the most powerful channel, if and the Israeli mainstream media, they didn't talk about Gaza, I think, for 1 year and even more. You don't see and you don't hear anything about what happened in Gaza. You just see what the IDF doing every day. All the journalists that they allow them to be in Gaza just with the army patrols, but they didn't give them. And I think that the editors, this is not the journalists, even the editors, the bosses of this media, they just want to be more Catholic than the Pope. I will try, if you understand me, that
Yes.
we just need to give the Israeli people what they like to hear. And even if we talk about the Palestinians, journalists and who are covering what happened in Gaza, and also my colleague in the Jewish society, they just want to, they don't want to hear them. They gave us, you can bring an Arab citizens, but he's a Zionist in his agenda, and he talk like an Arab in the studios, but he just talking about what the narrative of the Israeli love to hear and see. So for 1 years and more,
There's
most
even
of the
someone like
Israeli
that that
people.
has your same name, right? There's another
uh,
journalist.
I don't want to
No,
talk
no
about
names.
the
Okay,
names,
yeah.
but I think you understand. And
Yeah.
but if you just like what happened in the Israeli media, I think just in these 2 months we started to see something about what happened in Gaza. I think before 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I from the Hebrew University they make a poll what the Israeli opinion about what happened in Gaza. So 70% of the Israeli people think that no innocent in Gaza. And this is poll was in before 1 month, I think. It's not in 1 month or 2 months about the starting the war. I understand it, but now even what happened until now, most of the people in the Israeli society think there's no innocent people. As if you see this, you understand why they didn't they feel that okay, just I and most of the people when they started to go out and to go to the Kaplan Street in Tel Aviv or go to Jerusalem, they if you see
Protest.
the most important issues, yes, free the hostages. Not stop the war. Now we just see stop the war and free the hostages, so free the hostages and stop the war. In for 1 year, you just hear free the hostages and Gaza go to hell, what the President Trump said. So I think it's very important issue that the most of the people in Israel, they don't want to see or hear what happened in Gaza.
Thank you. There's a question here about reliable sources, but I actually think you addressed that in your earlier question. So I'll take the privilege of the moderator and ask the final question. I think that we are keep seeing what can go wrong, and that we keep going almost from bad to worse and going to worst case scenario and another worst case scenario. I want to ask you, Jackie, what could go right? What would be the best thing that could happen now? But I have to ask you to limit the last time we talked, there was another panelist who said, "Well, Donald Trump can end it all." I think we know that's not really realistic, but if you want to say that, that's okay. But what could go right? What could happen, and not just a fantasy that President Trump will care and end this?
No, when said President Trump can't stop it because we think and you just if you just looking for what happened now, when the president calls Netanyahu and he stopped, even when the Israeli how to say it no jets go to Iran, they just turn around in one telephone call. So I think if the administration have the power to push hard to stop the war and to make something change. But if you heard about I what Trump says before, I think here he said about just let the people of Gaza leave. We just said okay, it's not realistic. But I think that this government, Israeli government, take this seriously. I think that transfer of the most people of Gaza for this government is a realistic issue, and they want to push them to go out. So I think that we can't talk about stopping the war in what the Hamas or the Palestinian Authority or PLO or the Arab world think that stop the world and the Palestinian Authority or maybe Arab police forces from so many countries will came and rule Gaza for a transit for 2 years, 5 years, I don't know. And after that, the Palestinian Authority will came back. I think we are going to occupy Gaza, all the Gaza Strip, not for months, maybe for years, and it will be, a military rule, and they start to push people to let them go out, if not from the Rafah border, or maybe from the Israeli borders to go to Ramon airport and or maybe to the sea, and give the Palestinian in Gaza hope, but outside Gaza, go to Europe, go to Canada, go to Australia, so many people. And I think what we heard from Smotrich yesterday, that they are started to think seriously about to build a new Gush Katif and a new settlements in Gaza. So we just think that this is not, it's not possible, but I think they are very powerful and they have the powerful to make it real in the land of Gaza, the sands of Gaza. But I think if we go to election in 6 months or maybe a year from now, if we have election, I think it's a very difficult issue. And we have something that change in the political issue, and who will be the new prime minister if not Netanyahu. I don't think that he will go for end everything, but maybe something will change. So we are now captured with Netanyahu, Trump, Trump, Netanyahu, and we don't, because of that, we don't see that something will go on. Hopefully, I think I hope that I'm wrong, but I don't think we are going for optimistic scenario in this period.
Okay. Well, we only have 3 minutes left, so I guess this is your chance, Jackie, to share with us anything that you think that I should have asked, but I didn't, or anything you want to say. If an audience member wants to jump in really fast with a question, now's the time. Otherwise, Jackie, just what are your final words to us as your audience today in this incredibly devastating time right now?
I just say I know what happened in 7 October is 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 awful. Just thinking about my children, my wife, my family, and I understand what happened. But I think after 2 years, I think that more than 70,000 people killed, most of them are children and women. Something will must somebody must say that it stop, because we're talking about the talking about the world, we're talking about justice, we're talking about every thing that we just sometimes we think that you have justice in the world, something optimistic, but we are going for a very tough period that I don't know what we can do. And I just said something that what happened now in Gaza is very dangerous, but we can't also um, leave what happened in the West Bank. So I think all the Palestinian issue now is in very dangerous situation. We talk about Nakba in 48. I think we are now in another Nakba. It's for real.
Okay. Thank you. I also wanted to just acknowledge that in one of our plans between Jackie and me, we wanted your colleague in Gaza, Mustafa Ibrahim, to join us. That was the thought, but as you mentioned, he's been displaced and he can't get electricity. So even the way that this event shaped up is a part of that reality. Thank you to Saeed, the translator, for working so hard. Thank you to the audience members. And again, thank you to Eric and Natalia for helping organize this event, and to the audience for coming. And Jackie, it's always really good to talk to you. And I'll keep reading you every day. You said not many people read you in Hebrew, but you're the first person that I read in Hebrew every day, and that's been that way since decades. So I always feel like I'm talking to you all the time, even though we don't talk that often. So thanks to everyone. Please, Natalia, if you could post the link again for our next event, just one last time. On September 30th, Yonatan Dekel-Chen, talking about his experience of having his son as a hostage. Please join us for that. And then we have some events that are specifically focused on the Holocaust later in the year. Once again, thank you to everyone for this very
Thank
important
you.
seminar. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye bye.